Hello, my citizens of the world. I'm Yes or No, and you've caught me in my natural habitat. Like napping. No, it's one of my natural habitats. The other natural habitat is the gym. You wouldn't know it by my lack of energy right now. Hoofda, you also wouldn't know it by that double chin I was kind of giving you. I'm kind of still am giving it to you, but oh well. Today I wanted to talk about essentially the mindsets that incredibly fit people have. I'm including myself in that category because I work out a lot. I actually work out a lot. I work out maybe like 6 to 7 times a week. But before I get into that, I hope you guys will like indulge me in a little preamble of why I wanted to talk about this in the first place. And that's because, you know, during COVID times, I was doing what I normally do, which is type in New York City coronavirus cases into the Google search bar. And then I got really curious, actually, about just how severe COVID was last year compared to all the other types of death in the US. And so I typed that in and found out that COVID was actually the number 3 leading cause of death last year, but the number 1 leading cause of death was heart disease. It's really sad, right? But it wasn't surprising. And I say it wasn't surprising because actually an increase in weight is linked to an increase in heart disease, and especially heart disease that leads to death. And so one of my friends was saying this to me, and it's actually so true, that there was this huge, huge, huge opportunity that was missed in the news to talk to people, not just about COVID, right? Because that's obviously very serious and it's the reason we've all been staying at home, but to also educate most people on what's actually going to kill them, which is the food they're putting in their bodies and lack of movement. Because guys, get this, 74% of US adults are either overweight or obese right now. That's insane, right? And I'm not putting the onus on the individuals right now. Like, this is clearly a societal problem. That's basically saying, like, if you don't like wake up and start running the other way, the conveyor belt is gonna take you right off into unhealthy lands. Right? Unhealthy territory. Because basically the way everything's set up in our society is to like make us fail on this goal. We are surrounded by these so delicious but so not good for us foods, and we are surrounded by a culture that doesn't say work out, work out, work out. It says work, work, work. And so we spend a lot of our times working, sitting down, stationary, and we're not really moving our bodies. So today I'm not going to focus so much on the food aspect because holy hoofda and a half, that's like its own thing. But today I'm going to focus on the working out because that's something that I know a lot about and I'm really good at getting myself to do it. So thought I could share how I get myself off the bed and onto the treadmill. First thing is that my health is my number 1 priority. And when I say that, I mean that, right? If there's anything that COVID should have taught us, it's that without our health, we have nothing. Now the cop cars are going by. They know this is serious. Wee, wee, wee. Alert, alert, alert. Wake up. All right? And when something's your number 1 priority, you should treat it as such, right? But it's also one of those things that I don't know if you guys have seen the quadrant. I've talked about this before. Exercising and being healthy is one of those things that's really important, but it's not urgent, which is why a lot of people procrastinate it, right? Because you can go 3 days, 4 days without working out, and it's not like your entire life's gonna fall apart. But because of that, it's also one of those things you should do early in the morning, right? So I always work out first thing in the morning because it's my number 1 priority. Because if I don't do it first thing in the morning, if I push it later in the day, my mind will start debating with me and it will say, oh, you know what, you don't need to do it today, like you could do it tomorrow. And you want enough mental energy that when those thoughts come up, you can just smack them back down where they belong. Right? Which is why doing it in the morning is so conducive to a good exercise regime. But if you can't do it in the morning, schedule it into your calendar first thing before you schedule anything else into your calendar. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Now you got room. No excuses. The second thing that really fit individuals have in their mindset is accountability. Usually accountability to themselves, right? They have a baseline that they know they're never gonna fall below, right? But if you don't have that yet, then it makes a lot of sense to pull in help from external sources, right? So I have an accountability partner who once a week I talk to, and basically, like, if I'm falling short on my goals, we talk about it and we try and figure out why. But another way you can do this is by having a coach, you know, someone who like notices when you don't show up, or have a workout buddy or what have you, right? And this is basically a way to force yourself into doing the exercise even when you might not want to, which is like good, you know, it gets you to do it. But I don't think it's super sustainable for the long term unless you plan on, like, you know, having a coach your entire life or something. So that's why all the next points I'm gonna share with you guys focus on how to love the exercise, right? Because that's really how you're gonna turn exercise into something sustainable that you do your entire life. Okay, number 3, let's go to number 3. I'm ready for it. Are you ready for it? I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I'm not, I gotta look it up. Love what you do. That's the mindset that really fit individuals have. So I learned this, you know, growing up on sports teams my entire life. So I basically learned to associate the pain of exercise with laughing, with jokes, with getting to see my friends, right? So for me, the gym almost became my church in a sense. It was holy to me. And if people brought in a negative attitude to that space, it was like, dude, that's sacrilegious. Like, this is a place for fun, right? And so I always linked those two in my head. This is why I don't subscribe to the David Goggins mindset. I don't know if you guys watch him, but he's a guy who goes like full on intense into everything, and he tries to actively hate what he's doing every day. And I think that's dumb. I think when you start to freak yourself out about how scary a workout's gonna be, that just becomes more reason to stay at home and not do anything. Whereas my favorite motto is live life from courage, not fear, right? Look at the pleasure of life, not the pain, the love for life, not the hate, right? And so when you focus on what you're so excited about when it comes to exercise, you're gonna wanna get up and go after it, right? And nobody said that working out has to be at the gym either. Like, who said that? Who did I say that? I might have said that. Don't believe that. You can learn to love outdoor hikes. Tennis is a thing right now. Or I even got into these exciting like 1 month, 2 month exercise plans to just see like, oh yeah, what would my body actually look like if I went 2 months really intense into this program, right? It's just like, what's gonna motivate you and excite you? Do that. Okay? Okay. Moving on. The fourth mindset that incredibly fit individuals have is they slow down when something hurts, right? They don't stop, they slow down. So 2 weeks ago, I was doing running club, and I remember I was running this little 3-mile loop, and I haven't run since like October. I've been in the gym just doing like pure muscle stuff. And so when I got out of breath, I walked. I didn't keep running. I'm not gonna run 3 miles straight if it's painful. No, I hate pain. That's dumb. Because at least now I know whenever I decide to join running club again, I know that when it gets too painful for me, I can always just slow down, right? I don't have to be freaked out that I'll have to do the whole thing, otherwise I'm not perfect, right? Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. I think that's how the quote goes. Yeah, so it makes me way more likely to keep showing up in the future. I mean, obviously, this makes slower progress if you slow down, but you guys, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. If you want to see fast progress though, like that's when I would say, yeah, heck, get a coach, get a trainer, you know, sprint to that finish line, see progress as fast as you can, but just know that that might not be sustainable once you finish. Like if you're thinking of it as an end goal date, like this is gonna stop one day, then all the progress you make, you're gonna lose it. Whereas if you see this as a lifelong, how do I love it? How do I not freak myself out? How do I get myself to want to do this my entire life? You slow down. Okay, Number 5, sometimes you do stop though, right? And come up with a new strategy, right? You don't just keep banging your head up against the wall, expecting the wall to break if the wall doesn't break. No, pull it back. Look for the door, right? Like, look for the easier way to get to your destination. As soon as you procrastinate going to the gym or working out too many days in a row, it's time to pick a different exercise. And what I love about this thought process is that it doesn't blame yourself and it doesn't beat up on yourself for not having the motivation to do something. Because I think motivation is like a whole load of hubbubalooey. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, oh, it's my fault, I didn't get off the bed, I didn't do the thing. No, you realize that you're a human, which means you have very human desires. And we're motivated by pain and pleasure. So you just like change the strategy up so that the thing no longer feels painful and feels more like pleasure for you. It's that easy. You don't need to keep doing the painful thing just because everyone's like, that painful thing works. Yeah, there are a lot of strategies that work. Pick the one that works for you. And I'm very serious about this. Like, I even quit playing soccer after 10 years of doing it. As soon as they turned soccer from a fun thing to do that I was like elementary, middle school, whatever, into like a job like it was in high school. I was like, as soon as it became that, I'm like, I am out. That is not what sports should be. That is not what exercise and health should be. It should be fun. So if you're still here, welcome to mindset number 6, which is don't get thrown off by one bad day or even a series of a couple bad days strung together, right? I've had times where I've stopped working out for 3 or 4 months at a time, or one time I even stopped working out for 6 months. Every time I would do that, I would ask myself the question, like, does it ever get better when you stop? And the answer is no. You never feel better for stopping. If you have 1 or 2 bad mental health days where you just don't feel like going into the gym, you just don't feel like moving your body, that's fine, but don't let that derail you just because it wasn't absolutely perfect. Just be like, okay, well, you know, it's about positive momentum and get back on the horse. Which, I get it, that's a lot easier said than done because it is super discouraging when you look at the scale and it's worse off than you were a week ago. But it doesn't get better when you stop. There's no other way around it. It doesn't get better when you stop. And we haven't developed the technology yet to do our working out for us. So we are stuck with this fate. Okay, number 7, this is a fun mindset to have, is basically have a long-term vision of where you want to be at. Whether that's your weight, whether that's a strength goal you have, what have you, even if it's maintaining, right? Just set some longer term objective for yourself and set smaller goals along the way. Because otherwise you're like flailing around with no direction, right? You're like one of those floaties at like the inflatable car lots, like, woo, woo, you look ridiculous. No, you don't look ridiculous, but it makes it harder to get, so you don't have a goal, you don't have a vision. Where are you going? Who are you going with? No, don't be lost. Don't be lost. Know where you're going. I found usually the healthiest and most motivational goals to go after usually have nothing to do with weight. They're usually sports related. So for me, that's like wanting to climb V8s in my bouldering gym. But you know, sometimes no other goals will suffice other than a weight goal. And so if that's the case, you know, then set a weight goal. Like, who are other people to tell you what your goal should be? Like, don't listen to them. Everyone will be like, it's not healthy to focus on your body. It's completely fine if you want to focus on your body. Set the goal for yourself. Just know, like, those goals usually aren't as inspiring as the, like, let me run faster goals. Let me lift more goals. You know what I mean? Let me swim across the Atlantic Ocean goals. I would drown. I would drown. That's why I'm not setting that goal. But it is good to have long-term vision. Okay, and mindset number 8, the last one. Are you guys ready for a drum roll? It's actually not the best. It's just another one. It's like measure measure what's going on. This isn't even a mindset. It's just something fit people do. No, but yeah, so I would say on day one, it always makes sense to take a picture and take a record of your measurements, whatever measurements those are you care about, whether it's body, whether it's times or something, and then keep measuring it. I would measure like either once a week or once a month. I measure once a month. And I think this is super useful because we get so used to seeing what our body looks like on a day-to-day basis that we forget where we've come from, right? And usually around the 3-month mark is when a lot of people start getting very demotivated. So it helps to see how things have actually changed, right? So that you don't let yourself trick yourself. Basically, I would just say use this as a tactic to get motivated, right? If you start putting too much focus in it, then it like is like, it's consuming your life, right? But it's mainly just used to keep you loving what you're doing. And that's the whole point of 6 out of 8 of these things, these mindsets that I'm giving you. You gotta love what you're doing. Otherwise, why the heck are you doing it? You're like, to not die? True, so you love it anyway because of that. Alright, I'm gonna let this video die now. If you want to help me not die, you could donate to my Patreon down below, or if you want to help my spirit not die, feel free to watch more videos. Love you guys. Peace.